When people ask me, Jesse, what is your favorite VR game? They often expect me to say some sort of first-person sim kind of thing, or maybe a horror experience. But I have, and will continue to say, the best VR experience I've ever had was Moss, a virtual reality adventure with both a third-person and first-person perspective, where you, the player, take on the role of a ghost-like figure called the Reader, who manipulates the beautifully made diorama environments, while at the same time playing as Quill, the tiny mouse protagonist on a Zelda-esque quest to save her kingdom.
So tell me, what do you see in Quill? Because her story depends on you.
The whole thing is incredibly charming, and more importantly, unlike 90% of VR games that I play, it didn't make me sick after a while. And so, to say that I love this game would be an understatement. I have been championing it from its release on PSVR all the way to Steam, Rift, and Vive. So when I heard they were releasing a Moss Book 2, it was the only excuse I needed to dig my PSVR out of storage and find a way to hook this thing up to my PS5, which I did, there's an adapter, and help my friend Quill complete her quest. Whether you've played it or not, the story immediately picks up after the events of the first game, but gives you a nice refresher on what just happened. Book 2 is an apt title because rather than a sequel, from moment one, this feels more like a continuation of a much larger story, one that you're really just starting to unravel. And like all good part 2s, this game takes what made Moss 1 so fantastic and adds to it, without ruining anything that made the game so fun to play in the first place. From the moment you jump in and reunite with Quill, the camaraderie you felt in the first game instantly returns.
Your Reader, are they still here?
Yes, Uncle. They're right by my side. We're twofold.
While the narrator continues to do the voices of the characters, it's Quill's direct communication with you via American Sign Language and her emotive nature that instantly reminds you why this game was so wonderful. And like I said, luckily enough for new players, the first hour of the game is a great reintroduction to the world and how puzzle mechanics and combat work. Moving blocks, stun-locking enemies, discovering secrets, getting lost in the environments, and Quill just being Quill. However, this time, as the game progresses, you get access to new armors and weapons, as well as new abilities for both you and Quill. So now you're not only moving blocks and doors, but also grow plants, while Quill can use her increased dash ability to traverse the map or take out enemies. And all of this combined leads to the new and satisfying puzzles. Without spoiling too much, there are some great examples using the new type of roly-poly enemy. You can grab onto them and sort of rev them up and then send them shooting in a direction that usually has them flying into some type of pinball machine-esque path or into enemies for extra damage. It's a really fun and creative way to keep the action and the puzzles flowing without it just being you moving blocks around. All that said, it is VR still, so the distance from the camera setup, or where you're positioned, or how you handle VR has a lot to do with your experience. You may find that sometimes you've gotten too into a moment, and you're out of position, and now you can't grab something correctly, so you have to readjust. But once you readjust, you figure out your best position, it's pretty smooth. Speaking of smooth, the visuals in Moss Book 2 are smooth as can be. Honestly, I wish recording VR did it justice, with new environments and fun vistas that even translate over into your reading room. It's just a wonderful place to find yourself. Time just flew by as I got sucked into the adventure. And yes, I've been very vague with what that adventure is, mostly because it is the second game, and this time around, a lot of developments occur and it's super spoilery. But I will say it feels like this could truly be a very special and amazing franchise. And the ending definitely left me wanting more. I certainly wish it was longer, and I just can't wait for the next adventure. Moss Book 2 is out right now on PlayStation VR, and if you can't get that, hey, check out the first one. It's on PSVR, Vive, Steam, and Rift. It's definitely worth a play.